Angu tena utanitwangia.
Kupata matoke, bonyeza *811 *965 #. Bonyeza *811 *965 #.
Yeyote aliye na kinga hafifu mwilini yuko katika hatari ya kuambukizwa COVID-19. Hao ni kama watu ambao wanaishi na magonjwa kama vile virusi vya HIV, kansa, TB, kisukari, miongoni mwa magonjwa mengine. Lazima wazingatie matibabu ili kuboresha kinga mwilini. Lazima wahakikishe wamepata dawa ipasavyo. Tembelea kliniki yako au kituo cha afya kilicho karibu nawe kwa maelezo kamili kuhusu jinsi ya kupata dawa. Pia wasaidie jamaa na rafiki kupata dawa. Dumisha mawasiliano nao na ufuate mwongozo wa kiafya kutoka kwa kituo cha afya ili kujikinga na virusi vya korona. Pata habari kuhusu COVID-19 kupitia vyanzo vinavyoaminika. Piga 719 au bonyeza *719 #. COVID-19 inazuilika. Jilinde, linda familia na jamii. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na serikali ya Kenya.
It's the 5th of July 2020. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Channel 1 Weekend, a day when the country recorded a higher number of coronavirus cases. 309 people tested positive in the last 24 hours, just a day after the country recorded its highest number of coronavirus since the first case was reported yesterday. We witnessed 389 cases of coronavirus. Again, it's a day before the lapse of the 30-day extension of the dusk to dawn curfew and also of the lockdown restrictions in Mombasa, Nairobi, and Mandera. And tonight we ask you, should the head of state tomorrow, when he is expected to address the nation, extend the dusk to dawn curfew and also the lockdown restrictions in Nairobi, Mombasa, and Mandera, or they should be lifted? Talk to us at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1. The hashtag is Channel 1 Weekend. Also tonight on Family Matters, we want to explore the role technology is playing in the ongoing fight against coronavirus. An exclusive one-on-one interview with CSICT Innovations and Youth Affairs. Joe Musheru will be speaking to us on the new normal, the opportunities there are during this time, and whether technology is somehow the solution on the economic impact of coronavirus. Again, that interview will also be coming your way during this broadcast. You do not want to miss that. Keep engaging us. Let's first get the highlights.
We have observed that many of our people are going about their everyday activities as if we are in normal times.
Lacking danger, government warns against blatant disregard of COVID-19 regulations as number of new infections approaches the 8,000 mark. Kenyans remain divided on whether the president should ease restrictions in his address on Monday.
It seems that a lot of injustices is currently going on, is being done in the name of maslaha.
We are not going to allow issues to do with the maslaha to interfere with the way we do investigations. Let them do their maslaha, but as the law will take its course.
Oppressive system. Somali community Masla law system condemned for allegedly condoning human rights abuses. And technology used in COVID-19 response, ICTCS Jomo Sheru sheds light on how government is leveraging on technology to sensitize the public on coronavirus.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Museo, and Byron Abuli is our sign language interpreter tonight. Should President Uhuru Kenyatta extend the dusk to dawn curfew and even the lockdown restrictions in Mombasa, Nairobi, and Mandera counties? That is our big question tonight. At Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News, the hashtag is Channel 1 Weekend, and Channel 1 Weekend begins right now. The government is sounding a warning following the blatant disregard of COVID-19 containment measures by a section of Kenyans. The warning comes as the number of coronavirus infections remained on an upward trajectory, with 309 new cases reported in the last 24 hours. Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Rashid Aman is castigating PSV operators violating the directive to limit the number of passengers as well as those organizing and attending house parties oblivious of the lurking danger. Nancy Okware with the latest COVID-19 statistics that are racing towards the 8,000 mark.
With less than 24 hours left for the president to brief the nation on whether or not he will lift the dusk to dawn curfew and cessation of movement order currently in force in Nairobi, Mombasa and Mandera, the number of COVID-19 new infections continues to rise. The latest figures from the Ministry of Health do not paint a rosy picture, with the number of confirmed cases rising to nearly 8,000.
Of the 428 samples tested, 309 were positive. The total caseload in the country is now 7,886.
A situation that Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Rashid Aman says is triggered by the failure of a section of Kenyans to observe the ministry's directives on social distancing and hygiene measures. Aman is particularly taking issue with PSV operators in the rural areas and Kenyans in urban areas holding house parties.
There have been cases of illegal gatherings, such as house parties in various counties, with people paying no regard to the need for social distance or wearing of face masks. We are currently witnessing overloaded vehicles, particularly in rural settings, with border operators carrying more than one passenger.
At the same time, he dismissed claims that hospital facilities are overstretched.
Most of these cases, you are aware, have been managed under home-based care protocols. So any case that may be turned away, we need to know, because we do not. Our duty of care is to avoid mortalities. There are still beds available in most counties, including Nairobi. So no case should be turned away from hospital.
Among the new cases reported in the last 24 hours, one of them is a 1-year-old child.
I believe that if the households and the family members of the households are able to practice social distance, then it is possible to protect the children also without having to subject them to these difficulties of having to wear masks.
An additional 51 patients recovered, pushing the total number of recoveries to 2,287, with one more fatality recorded.
Seeking medical attention only comes after infection. Protecting one from being infected is the most effective way of curtailing the spread of the virus.
Out of the 309 new cases, Nairobi had 193 cases, Kajiado 22, Kiambu 20, Mombasa 18, Makueni 17, while Busia had 11 cases. Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
And President Uhuru Kenyatta has commended Africa's concerted response to COVID-19, saying measures being implemented by African countries are helping slow down its spread. The head of state pointing out that despite limited resources, the continent had rolled out proactive measures that were helping save lives.
As the world strives to mitigate the coronavirus pandemic, President Uhuru Kenyatta has lauded the continent's concerted response to COVID-19, pointing out that measures being put in place by African countries have played a pivotal role in slowing down the spread of the virus. President Kenyatta saying despite limited resources, the continent had rolled out proactive measures that are helping to save lives.
For a continent of 1.2 billion people, we have about 400,000 confirmed cases and just a little bit over 10,000 deaths. Every single life that we lose is unfortunate. But we must also thank God that we have been in a position to reduce the death rate that has been associated with many other parts of our globe.
Speaking at State House, Nairobi, during a webinar on post-COVID-19 reconstruction organized by the African chapter of the International Summit Council for Peace, the head of state warned against complacency in Africa's COVID-19 response, saying the pandemic is likely to get worse in coming months.
And we need to actively prepare for a looming crisis. We need, as a continent, to continue to learn from each other.
He listed peer learning, data-driven decision-making, pragmatism, and regular and transparent communications as some of the best practices that will stand Africa in a better position to defeat coronavirus.
We need to remain pragmatic about managing containment measures and always maintain regular and transparent communication with our citizens, because at the end of the day, it is our citizens who are going to be critical in fighting this pandemic.
This even as he held religious institutions saying they have been among key actors in containing the spread of COVID-19.
Religious organizations provide critical outreach to our most vulnerable households and have an extensive network of faith-based health and education infrastructure that I believe will be critically important in us being able to respond to this disease.
Moving forward, the president urged African leaders to continue working together with the support of partners in crafting interventions that enhance resilience of the continent's vulnerable populations. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
In the education sector, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says the government has put in place elaborate measures to guarantee the safety of learners in the country's higher institutions ahead of a possible reopening in September, with teachers in tertiary institutions set to be subjected to mandatory COVID-19 tests. Magoha says institutions that will not heed to the directive will not be allowed to reopen, the directive coming as the government and stakeholders intensified mitigation measures to contain the spread of the virus.
It is a delicate balancing act for the government as it seeks to control the spread of COVID-19 disease and recommence the school calendar that was suspended following its outbreak in the country. And amid uncertainty over the exact date schools will reopen, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says tertiary institutions will have to satisfy strict guidelines, including mandatory COVID-19 tests for their staff before reopening. Magoha saying ensuring that schools adhere to the social distancing guideline remains the biggest challenge yet as the government mulls a reopening of schools.
What about the boarding situation? Nobody has told me whether they have double decks in these schools or not. But it must be the same. If you have double decks and there are no children, you must make sure that one bed is 1.5 meters away from the other one. If you can't, the student has to stay alone inside. It's not a question of saying, oh, this is now 1 meter, we can manage.
These as Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua decried the high number of Kenyans losing jobs as a result of the coronavirus pandemic.
But the problem is not coronavirus. The problem is not COVID-19. This is what is happening in Kenya, the suffering, is not happening in Singapore. Is not happening to the same degree in the United States or in European nations or even in South Africa. It is happening here because we are a poor economy, because we have not really concentrated our energy in ensuring people have money in their pocket. We are all excited about politics.
Elsewhere, Miraa farmers and traders from Miraa growing region of Meru County have decried restriction of movement in Mandera County that has hampered movement of the product to neighboring Somalia.
Lakini kutoka siku corona ilikuja mpaka ikasimamishwa, sisi hatujawahi uza kilo moja ya miraa kutoka hiyo siku ilifungwa. Kwa hivyo ningeliomba rais wetu Uhuru Kenyatta atuhurumie, aone sisi ni wakulima, sisi ni wananchi na ni wanawake, ni wanawake. Tumetaabika, hatuna kitu ya kutumia kwa watoto wetu, hatuna kitu ya kutumia kwa nyumba.
And Garissa County COVID-19 preparedness received a shot in the arm following a partnership deal with UNICEF. County Director of Health Abdullahi Dawood says the deal will see the distribution of washing equipment in all health facilities and other high concentration areas like markets in Garissa sub-county. Dawood said the health department had traced and put under quarantine contacts of those who had tested positive.
I know there are many people who are a bit relaxed because it's as if they are becoming familiar with the virus. This virus is never familiar with anybody. It is killing quite a number of people. We know our economy has been affected, but please, we are not yet out of the hook. So we are requesting our communities to adhere to the Ministry of Health guidelines.
Beatrice Gatonyengetich, Channel 1 News.
Remember, we are live on Facebook, on Twitter, and YouTube. Tell us where you're watching us from. Mark Harry on our Channel 1 News Facebook page, watching live from Makueni County, Kilungu Sub-County, and Gilbert Keegan, you are saying that you are watching live from Kapchumbin in Philip Tunoi, Kebeneti. All right, thank you for your feedback. Tell us where you're watching us from, and of course looking forward to also having a discussion on family matters with ICT Cabinet Secretary Jim Museo on just the role technology is playing in the ongoing fight against coronavirus. President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to address the nation on Monday in an event where he is projected to review the current COVID-19 restriction measures. But as the clock ticks towards the big day, expectations by Kenyans remain divided in what could prove a delicate balancing act for the head of state. While some are eager to have the country reopened, others fear that easing restrictions would lead to exponential growth of positive cases that could choke the health system to its limits.
Tomorrow, 6th of July, marks the end of 30 days of extended restriction measures spelled out by President Kenyatta a month ago, with the head of state expected to address the nation and review the containment measures that include travel restrictions in Nairobi and Mombasa, 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. curfew across the country, among others, whose economic and social effects continue to be felt by Kenyans across the country.
President afungue kwa sababu maisha economy yetu imeenda chini, maisha ni magumu.
Afanyie favor wananchi watufungulie biashara iko chini. Hata juzi ndio mwenye landlord aliniambia niame kama sina pesa. Sasa at least atufungue barabara. Na biashara ndio tuone kama biashara itaendelea.
Na matarajio yangu ya kesho, tunatarajia rais atufungulie kazi. Juu sisi wana biashara tumeadhirika sana, hakuna kazi. Kwanza hii sekta ya hospitality tumeadhirika sana.
With the first case of the disease having been recorded in March, a section of Kenyans feel the guidelines instituted have already been acculturated by Kenyans.
Ugonjwa haitaisha kesho. Haitaisha. Hii ni watu wenyewe wazoee kujilinda na kufuata masharti, kwa sababu hata wakati ukimwi ulikuja ilikuwa ni ugonjwa mmoja uliogopewa sana, mpaka rafiki yako unamkimbia kwa sababu anayo. Hata choo huwezi enda, unaogopa kwenda zile choo. Lakini kwa sasa tunaishi nao.
Kuna watu sahi wanalala njaa, huwezi kwenda kutafuta. Na tutafanya namna gani? Tutakufa na njaa ama tutakufa na corona?
Others noting that restrictions of movement and social distancing has impacted negatively on business and the general economy of the country, with massive losses of revenues and jobs continuing to be recorded.
Nairobi na Mombasa ni sehemu kubwa ambayo inaleta mapeni na maendeleo, ni hub kubwa ya economy ya Kenya. Na ikiwa itafungwa kwa muda mrefu, economy yetu pia itaanguka.
Kitu ya kukula, una kuenda nje utafutie mtoto wako. Na mpasi uko nje unapata biashara zilifungwa. So na hope for the best atufungulie tu biashara na kazi iendelee.
Cognizant of the ever-rising curve, a section of Kenyans feel the president should lift a few restrictions to allow for a gradual reopening of the economy with strict observation of public health guidelines like wearing of masks and hand washing. There are some, however, who hold a completely different view.
Mimi si expect afungue cause akifungua hii kitu mazee itaenea sana. So ombi yangu mimi ni asifungue, tuendelee tu hivyo hivyo. Tushazoea curfew, tushazoea biashara ifunguliwe masaa fulani. Isifunguliwe, tunajali wazazi bana.
The last few days have seen Kenya record her highest numbers of COVID-19 cases, with the Ministry of Health confirming 309 new cases of the coronavirus on Sunday from 4,228 samples tested over the last 24 hours. The country's total caseload now standing at 7,886 and a total of 160 fatalities amid concern that the country's health system is almost stretched to its limits. This Chania Bridge barrier is one among those set up to contain movement in and out of Nairobi. Come tomorrow, Kenyans are hoping that the president will ease the cessation of movement directive that has been placed across the country. It will be a tough balance for him between saving livelihoods and saving lives. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1 News.
Thank you so much, Caroline Kamau. And of course, our big question tonight, should the head of state, during his address tomorrow when the 30 days extension of the dusk to dawn curfew and lockdown restrictions in the 3 counties, should he reopen, should he lift those restrictions or enhance them? Talk to us at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. I'll be going through your feedback shortly. Let's now shift our gears to Western Region. And ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi and Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula have sustained their calls to have the Western Region voting bloc unite ahead of the 2022 general elections. The two leaders were in Busia County Sunday, accompanied by a section of legislators from the region, where they resolved to amplify calls to have the government allocate more resources towards the region's economic development.
It has been turbulent times for ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi and Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula in their quest to consolidate their support, with national political events appearing to have isolated them. And amid upheavals within their political parties, the two leaders would spend their weekend in their Western Kenya stronghold as they seek to find a foothold. After meeting political and local leaders from Trans Nzoia County on Saturday, the two leaders would on Sunday head to Busia County, holding a meeting with the local leadership. The agenda being to mobilize the Western Kenya vote bloc behind one of their own ahead of 2022 elections.
We have chosen to walk gallantly into the future until 2022 as one solid bloc from Western Kenya. We will not be looking back. Let those who are someone else's project in the region and their master know that there is only one direction for us. There is no reverse gear, no surrender, no looking back.
We are tired. We have carried people on our shoulders for too long. Yes. Tumechoka. 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 Tumechoka.
Those attending the meeting observing that Western Kenya bloc has for long been used to endorse other politicians, and it was time to rally behind the leadership of one of their own.
You are leading us by telling us to stand together. You are leading us by telling us to work together. You are leading us by telling us to speak together. And you are leading us by showing us the direction to State House. Hiyo ndio jukumu yetu sisi zote, leaders, because hakuna kiongozi mwenye anaweza kujua kila kitu.
Weta, I want to assure you, you will never walk alone. The people of Museo, you will never walk alone. The people of Western Kenya, you will never walk alone. The people of Kenya, you will never walk alone. And for you, I also say, don't allow me to walk alone.
The political players concluding by committing to reach out to other regions as they move to consolidate their odds ahead of 2022 general elections. Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
From politics, the Reproductive Healthcare Bill 2019 has reawakened debate among the pro-life and pro-choice crusaders when it comes to childbirth. The bill appears to have angered Catholic bishops who argue it violates the right to life as enshrined in the scripture, an argument that civil society groups have dismissed, saying the Constitution recognizes the right to reproductive health care. Safin Acheng Ouma with details of the divided opinion on the emotive subject.
The proposed legislation by Nakuru Senator Susan Kihika, currently before the Senate, seeks to give impetus to the right to reproductive health care as envisaged in the Constitution. However, the men of the cloth, led by Catholic bishops, are raising ethical concerns on the wordings in the bill. In his Sunday sermon, Reverend Maurice Muhatia Makuba of the Nakuru Diocese warned that the bill violates the sanctity of life and should not be allowed to sail through in its current format.
We should be careful not to sell our country at 20 cents to mercenaries of anti-life. On behalf of the bishops, I appreciate individuals and groups that have continued to champion matters pertaining to the sanctity of life, defense of the family, and the protection of the children.
The bishops are concerned that the bill, as drafted, will negatively impact the moral fabric and open a window for misuse. At the same time, they want the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development to provide age-appropriate content that upholds good social and moral values among children.
The Ministry of Education, through the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, to provide age-appropriate and value-based human sexuality education to learners. All stakeholders must be engaged in this process.
But as the clergy oppose the bill, over 25 civil society organizations are in support of the legislation. The group have faulted the men of the cloth for allegedly misinforming the public and curtailing the fundamental constitutional rights of women and girls when it comes to reproductive health care.
These statements, claims and threats by these groups are also designed to stop the full operationalization of the legal frameworks that grant these rights.
We therefore take this opportunity to enlighten Kenyans that sexual and reproductive health and rights are grounded in our Constitution.
The group says that there is need to develop policies that will support the full implementation of the constitutional provision on sexual and reproductive health rights.
We commend the steps being taken to create a comprehensive legal framework and urge all of us to support members of parliament and the executive who are working to ensure that women and girls reap the results of the constitutional order that we fought for.
The group is also calling on the Ministry of Health to facilitate training of healthcare workers to enable them offer safe abortion and other reproductive health services to women and girls who qualify for the services. At the same time, they are calling for more awareness on sexual and reproductive rights in a bid to correct what they say is misinformation on the subject.
Sensitization and awareness program that dispel myths, misconceptions, misinformations, and untruths regarding sexual and reproductive health and rights, which are guaranteed in our Constitution.
The bill, among others, touches on safe motherhood, termination of pregnancy, access to reproductive health services by adolescents, assisted reproductive services, requirements for surrogate parenthood agreements, as well as obligates each level of government to ensure availability of reproductive health care services.
As the debate over the Reproductive and Health Bill of 2019 continues to take shape, moral and cultural questions abound over its implementation, a bill that comes at a time when the rate of teenage pregnancies and sexual activity among young people are continuing to rise. For Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Acheng Ouma.
Thank you, Safin. And from the courts, the launch of the e-filing system this week by the judiciary was in line with its transformation blueprint aimed at sealing graft loopholes and improving efficiency through automated systems. However, the first week of operations came with its fair share of teething problems. Our reporter, Serafina Robi, had a sit-down with the Deputy Registrar, Elizabeth Tanui, on the challenges and opportunities presented by the new e-filing system.
Justice for rape and defilement victims in parts of Wajir and its environs has become elusive thanks to the massless system of resolving disputes. As victims are forced to live with the hidden scars of their ordeal with no justice forthcoming, elders here appear to be reaping big. Cases that are supposed to be heard in court are being heard under acacia trees by elders under the massless system, with priority given to compensation.
And it's a very just and beautiful justice system if it's not commercialized. Lakini siku hizi dunia imekuwa mingi, watu wameanza kuingia town, commercialization lazima itaingia ndani.
So it seems that a lot of injustices is currently going on, is being done in the name of maslaha.
Cases of defilement and rape in the region are said to be.
All right, we do apologize for that wrong report there. We will have that exclusive interview by Serafina Robi, who had a sit down with the Deputy Registrar Elizabeth Tanui on the challenges and opportunities presented by the e-filing system launched early this week. Let's now take our first commercial break. Don't go too far. We still have plenty more to come. Stay with us.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola, taste the simple joys.
Next on.
Ya muhimu kwanza ni kujua hali yako ya status ya HIV.
I have not done anything. Nothing.
Then why are you hiding here?
I'm a shepherd.
Akramak?
He's the traitor we are looking for.
La bila gloves haiwezi. Rieni kujua.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue.
Hamjambo wa Kenya wenzangu. Mimi ni Mheshimiwa Mize. Ninalotaka kuambia ni kuwasihi ya kwamba korona iko. Na ili tupigane nayo na tuishinde, ukitoka nje, ukifika kule nje, kuna hata maji yamewekwa nje na serikali. Unanawa mikono kwa maji na sabuni. Na maji yenyewe yawe ni yale ya kutiririka. Pale unaponawa, unaangalia usafi wako wa mikono, unaosha huku nje ya viganja, unasugua katikati ya vidole, pia huku kwenye kucha, manake uchafu wajifiche huku kwenye kucha. Uoshe, kisha sunza na maji yanayotiririka. Maji yakimwaika, kusema kweli tutashinda. Tuzingatie na tutii sheria. Korona tunaishinda na baadaye maisha yatarudi kama kawaida wa Kenya.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with Channel 1 Weekend. Let's now revisit our report compiled by Serafina Robi. The launch of the e-filing system this week by the judiciary was in line with its transformation blueprint aimed at sealing graft loopholes and improving efficiency through automated systems. However, the first week of operations came with its fair share of teething problems. Our reporter Serafina Robi had a sit-down with a Deputy Registrar Elizabeth Tanui on the challenges and opportunities presented by the new e-filing system. Take a look.
The e-filing system, launched at the Supreme Court on the 1st of July in Nairobi, marks yet another milestone for the judiciary in its continued reforms aimed at improving service delivery and sealing corruption loopholes. This is the scene that greets you when you walk into the scanning center at the Milimani Law Courts. 15 workstations strategically placed that provide a workspace of different registries and courts. At the scanning center, we find staff hard at work. This is the room where judicial staff receive, scan and upload court documents online.
On this machine, then now we upload them onto the case tracking system.
It's here that we meet Victor Otieno. He is a court administrator. He spares a few minutes from his busy schedule to explain to us the process of e-filing.
A very big file, these bulky files, which cannot be used by the other scanners that we're using down there. So we bring it to this book scanner. So if you haven't logged into the system or if you haven't used the system before, you'll first need to sign up. You click on that button, and then if it's a law firm or an organization or an individual, so you'll choose the correct field, correct category where we belong in, and then you key in all these.
And from the scanning room, we sought out the Deputy Registrar Elizabeth Telui. Telui shed light on the 4-year journey that culminated in the launch of the e-filing system, which was part of the judiciary's transformation blueprint launched in 2016.
We are building all this digitization on the strategy that was launched by the Chief Justice in the year 2016.
So what new opportunities has the e-filing system presented?
In your case, if you have filed a suit today and the defendant has been served and has come on record, then you need to be informed that the person that you have sued has entered appearance, and we are able to give you that via an SMS.
Previously, advocates were subjected to a tedious filing process that will take almost an entire day, as demonstrated. However, the shift is not without its challenges. Some of the lawyers expressed concerns on the amount of time spent on assessment.
Paying itself takes also some time. So imagine a situation where you are getting somebody who is in distress and needs an urgent court order very urgently.
So if you had an auction, for instance, at 11 o'clock and you have filed in the morning, definitely it will take, you will not be able to get the orders now, because we will then give you the payment advice, then you pay, then you send it back to us. Then once it has been sent back to us, we then translate that email and forward it to the judge who is on duty.
And others were of the opinion it was a costly venture.
So we are saying, let us not transport the inefficiency, let us not transport the discrimination and exclusion of the poor.
Where does the issue of cost arise, for instance? It could be because they have to scan these documents. They have to scan and upload them into the system. But you see, that is what they have been doing all along, especially during this COVID period.
But what is the impact to an ordinary Kenyan seeking to file a case at the courts?
We are coming into the Milimani Law Courts, and every court station will have a kiosk sort of, where the people who are having challenges are registering into the system.
According to the Deputy Registrar, the e-filing system will help curb the menace of loss of files, as well as ease the process of judges to trace and access files. The system is also integrated with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and the land sector.
We are looking into a process where we integrate this with the Attorney General's office. That is one. The other one is with the integrated personnel validation, the IPRS.
In the first week, it has 193 accounts and 47 cases were filed into the system. The system will soon be rolled out in Mombasa and Kisumu. The judiciary will require more funds to ensure full automation of its system as part of efforts to ease access to justice. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Sarafina Robbie.
Thank you, Serafina. E-filing there, e-commerce, e-shopping, e-learning, e-everything. Is this the way to go during this coronavirus pandemic? And tonight on Family Matters, we explore the role technology is playing in the ongoing fight against coronavirus and the opportunities there are. Tonight, our guest is CSICT, Joe Musheru, will be helping us know what are some of the opportunities, especially, and the effectiveness of technology in the fight against coronavirus. Keep talking to us at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. The hashtag is Channel 1 Weekend on Twitter. Josephine Masika on our top question tonight. You're saying you predict that all other counties with existing cessation of movement will be lifted, save for Nairobi, since its COVID cases are exponentially raising every day. Watching from Mathare, Nairobi County. Thank you for your feedback. And then Achuka Nyabuto, you're watching from Lower Karen. Alexis Morara, you are tuned in from Gashe. And lastly, we also have William. You're saying that you are watching Channel 1 Weekend. Keep talking to us and telling us whether on our top question tonight, we are asking you whether the head of state should he lift or not the dusk to dawn curfew and also the lockdown restrictions in Mombasa, Nairobi and Mandera. A long-standing system of resolving conflicts among the Somali community is receiving disapproval, with its opponents blaming it for increased human rights abuses among communities living in northern Kenya. The practice, commonly referred to as masla, is said to have been commercialized, with elders allegedly benefiting at the expense of victims. Civil society groups say the alternative dispute resolution mechanism has seen social ills, including defilement, such as a punishment meted on perpetrators was not severe enough to deter such crimes.
Justice for rape and defilement victims in parts of Wajir and its environs has become elusive thanks to the masla system of resolving disputes. As victims are forced to live with the hidden scars of their ordeal with no justice forthcoming, elders here appear to be reaping big. Cases that are supposed to be heard in court are being heard under acacia trees by elders under the masla system, with priority given to compensation.
And it's a very just and beautiful justice system if it's not commercialized. Lakini siku hizi dunia imekuwa mingi, watu wameanza kuingia town, commercialization lazima itaingia ndani.
So it seems that a lot of injustices is currently going on, is being done in the name of maslaha.
Cases of defilement and rape in the region are said to be on the rise, with other families opting to go the masla way for fear that reporting such matters to authorities would bring shame to the family. Wajir County Branch Maendeleo ya Wanawake Chair Rukia Abdullahi says the alternative dispute resolution mechanism has left vulnerable groups at a disadvantage.
Who benefits from the maslaha? It's the elders and the person who committed the crime. The girl down there has nothing. And then her life is also shattered. Because we live in a society that don't keep things secret. You know? They will just say, that is the lady who was raped the other day.
If a rape case happens or a girl is defiled, as long as it is an issue concerning women, you see all the men camp on one side.
Out of the proceeds from a case under the mechanism, 40% is said to go to the elders, with the rest being subdivided among the families of the victim, with women not allowed to question the process.
Family ya mwanaume anakuambia sisi maneno tumemaliza, wanakuonyesha madharau. Wasai wanakuambia kuna makati mwanamke anatawala. Kwani sisi hatuna haki?
And with the recent defilement case involving an assistant chief, County Criminal Investigation Officer Henry Ndombe has distanced police officers from claims of abetting the practice of masla.
We are not going to allow issues to do with the masla to interfere with the way we do investigations. Let them do their masla, but as the law will take its course.
Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
Elsewhere, the Association of Mitumba Sellers in the country wants the government to lift the ban on importation of second-hand clothes, saying continued suspension will kill the livelihoods of millions of households. The association says the suspension, which was part of government's efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19 disease, has compounded. Members who have already seen their businesses suffer huge losses as shoppers shun crowded areas.
On March 25th, just days after the first case of COVID-19 was confirmed in the country, the government suspended the importation of second-hand clothing. And 3 months into the ban, that was part of the government's new measures to fight the spread of the respiratory virus, the Association of Mitumba Sellers say the sector is on the verge of collapse following huge losses incurred by traders.
As an association, we have taken the step to engage the relevant ministry charged with the development of the informal sector with a view of seeking and receding of the temporal measure. 2 weeks ago, we submitted a set of comprehensive business protocols to guide the continued importation of trading of mitumba in the country. The guidelines are in the tandem with the similar guidelines issued by the ministry.
The association appealing to the government to lift the suspension, claiming it is sinking billions of shillings in revenue collection, adding that 2 million jobs are at stake if the obtaining situation is sustained, with the government saying that its decision was informed by the existing COVID-19 protocols restricting importation of second-hand clothes from virus-prone countries. The group says the virus cannot survive for the 2 months it takes to ship the goods into the country.
Sasa hivi wale ambao sisi kama brokers na retailers tunategemea sasa hivi awa import mizigo yoyote kwa sababu serikali imesimamisha kwa ajili ya COVID-19. Na jambo ambalo linalotushangaza ni kwamba hii COVID-19 tumeweza kuangalia kwamba hata organization ambayo health organization tumeweza kuhakikisha kwamba haiwezi kuambukiza kupitia mambo za nguo ama mambo ya mitumba. Kwa sababu tunapoangalia kwamba mitumba kabla ifike katika taifa letu la Kenya huwa inakaa kwa port kama around 2 months to 3 months iweze kufika katika bandari ya Mombasa.
To allow the industry to thrive as well as to adhere to COVID-19 guidelines, the sector is proposing continuous conformity to the containment measures, fumigation of goods before transit to Kenya and upon arrival, as well as issuance of certificates to show conformity to COVID-19 guidelines. For Channel 1 News, I'm Gladys Mungal.
The decision to retain the Teachers Service Commission CEO Nancy Macharia for another term continues to receive the backing of Teachers Union, with KUPPET now joining in the chorus to retain her. This comes as LSK queried the legality of her reappointment without fresh vetting. Jackie Wambiro with the details.
The best grade, get it, God will do the rest.
The reappointment of Nancy Macharia as Chief Executive Officer by the Teachers Service Commission sparked debate amid queries on the legality in her reappointment. Days after her appointment, KUPPET becomes the latest teachers union after NAT to back her reappointment. KUPPET Secretary General Akelo Misori argues that the Teachers Service Board is mandated by law to appoint any individual it deems fit for the position.
We don't prefer to work with a specific individual or specific individuals, and we are not in the line of discussing our employer in that light.
He further welcomed the move, saying it will not disrupt ongoing engagements between the Commission and the Teachers Union, given that majority of the commissioners were on their way out as their tenure expires.
This is the year 2020, and we expect to begin a robust negotiation in a new CBA with the Teacher Service Commission. We are also aware that nearly half of the commissioners are also going home because their term has expired. It will be very difficult to navigate our new frontiers of negotiations with new faces.
At the same time, they are calling on the national government to move with speed and establish robust law enforcement measures to help curb the increase in teenage pregnancies.
Laws should be enforced more robustly by identifying and punishing the adults preying on schoolgirls during the COVID-19 outbreak. Bearing in mind that most sexual offenses during this pandemic are perpetrated by close relatives or those trusted by the children.
Meanwhile, Moffat Okisai, the Kuppet Secretary Busia County Branch, is calling for the promotion of teachers to address the issue within the education sector. This even as he called for punitive measures against those defiling and impregnating schoolgirls.
Laws should also now be revised that any adult who was impregnated a school-going girl, a teenager, should face life imprisonment.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
In NAROK County, police are investigating the mysterious death of a 32-year-old man who died at a guest house in the company of a woman. Edmond Ngoyo is said to have developed complications in the middle of the night, with efforts by his girlfriend to seek medical attention proving unsuccessful.
The death of Edmond Ngoyo still remains a puzzle. The 32-year-old who works in Kisii under the Ministry of Industrialization died under unclear circumstances in a room he booked at a guest house in NAROK town. Ngoyo is said to have booked a room at around 6 p.m. on Saturday before inviting a woman. According to Marion Duku, who is currently in police custody, the deceased started sweating and complaining of fever and died when she had gone to seek help.
Aliamka mara moja kama mtu ameshikwa tu na kitu. Akastrain mara moja, akajikaza na mza ni nini sasa nimeshtuka. Ni nini? Si ndio nilitoka nikakimbia kuita soja.
NAROK North OCPD Frederick Shundu says police were informed about the incident early Sunday morning.
Tulipotazama mwili wa marehemu pata kwamba hakuna majeraha wala hakukuwa na dalili kwamba kulikuwa na mng'ang'ano wa aina yoyote. Hatuwezi bashiri kiini ya kifo, maana hiyo ni kazi ambayo madaktari watathibitisha.
Ngoyo's death initially causing anxiety as he was suspected to have succumbed to COVID-19.
Hatutaki mambo ya porojo. Watu wana speculate mambo mingi. Hata mtu akiwa na homa ya kawaida ni corona unayo. So that we move away from simplifying the issue of people dying to say ati ni corona imechukua mtu na mtu aende atupwe within 24 hours kulingana na maagizo ya serikali.
The family that is yet to come to terms with their loss, calling on the investigative agencies to conduct a thorough probe on their kin's death.
Tumesema ni mzuri tuachie polisi wafanye uchunguzi wao. Saa hii kuna watu wanaandikisha taarifa na polisi wanafuata utaratibu, kwa sababu tunasikia masimu mingi sana imepigwa usiku na upande wa msichana. Hatujui zilipigiwa nani.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Acheng Oma.
And while COVID-19 can infect any person, the virus poses a particular risk to those with underlying medical conditions. Studies indicate that the disease could disproportionately affect those with cardiovascular disease. This means that adequate understanding of the relationship between COVID-19 and cardiovascular disease is required for best management of patients with the condition.
They should follow those basic advice from Ministry of Health. Okay? Apart from that, they should make sure that they adhere to their appointment for their review. And when they go for those appointments, they should make sure that they adhere also to the basic rules. Yeah? Hygiene, basic hygiene. Wear a mask. When they go to the clinics, let them not mix with very many people. If you are to be accompanied by somebody, let it be one person. Okay? If you are a smoker, stop smoking immediately. If you consume alcohol, limit. All right? Feed well We're emphasizing on healthy diet.
You may be in the pit. You do not see how you could get out. But the good news is that you do not have to get by yourself. The Most High God is about to lift you out. He's about to turn the medical report. He's about to free you. He's about to open new doors, bringing new opportunities, new relationships.
Kupata the pit, bonyeza star 811 star 967 hash. Bonyeza star 811 star 967 hash.
On the next episode of Corner.
Why did you have to do it? Alafu umeshinda umenekea guilt. Acha. Mkoraka tubonge. Talk now.
Why is Ayira constantly visiting you? You better not be up to something stupid.
Justice will be served like hot tea.
Imagine my shock when I discovered that you are behind this pyramid scheme.
I needed to clear my head.
Every time something happens, you run here and hide.
Welcome back. We are going to have our sports news later, family matters, and our guest is CS ICT Joe Musheru on COVID-19 technology and the new normal. You do not want to miss that. Western STIMA chairman Laban Jobita says the club will not stand in the way of any player who is intent on leaving the team in search of greener pastures. The Kisumu-based side, which plays in the Kenya Premier League, is currently without a sponsor following the exit of Kenya Power and Lighting Company. Some key players are keen on leaving the team in the upcoming transfer window. Jobita has also hinted at the possibility of the club changing its name after KPLC exit under head coach Salim Babu. STIMA finished 7th on the 36 points in the abandoned 2019-2020 KPL season, having won 9 games, drawn as many, while losing 5 times in 23 matches. Sergio Ramos scored the only goal for the second consecutive game as Real Madrid beat Atletico Bilbao 1-0 to go 7 points clear at the top of La Liga. Ramos slammed home a penalty just as he did on Thursday against Getafe after Dani Garcia fooled Marcelo in a decision given by VAR. Ramos has scored 5 goals in 7 matches, all wins since the start. Defending champions Barcelona visit Villarreal later tonight, looking to bring the gap back to 4 points. Elsewhere, Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola is hopeful that the citizens will overturn their Champions League ban. The former English Premier League champions are expecting a judgment from the Court of Arbitration for Sport over their appeal against their expulsion from European competition on July 13. Was banned from UEFA competitions for 2 years by the European governing body in February after being found guilty of breaches of financial fair play regulations. Their case was heard by CAS last month, and the club has always been bullish about the potential outcome. Amid the off-field issues, City remains involved in this year's Champions League competition, which is now due to resume in August. City hold a 2-1 lead over Real Madrid after the first leg of their last 16 tie. In the EPL, City is assured of the second position, sitting 8 points ahead of third place Leicester City, and are currently taking on Southampton at St. Mary's Stadium. All right, and that's it for sports. Thank you so much for keeping us company. Remember, we are not done until the Family Matters one-on-one interview with CS Joe Musheru. And on Twitter, Simon Musemi, you saying, as usual, watching from Lower Kabete, Kiambu County. And then Josephine, you're saying, I'm humbled. All right, thank you. Thank you so much for your feedback. Justus Maithia, you're watching Channel 1 Weekend at Umoja. And then Ariro Evelyn, you are watching with the whole family. Wow, thank you so much. So we are going to have the weather update. Remember, it's July, the cold season, it's here. And my colleague Irene Muchuma Odim is on standby to just tell us the latest, especially what we expect throughout this month. And then after the weather forecast, we have Family Matters, our exclusive one-on-one interview with CS Joe Musheru ICT on the solutions and the opportunities there are in the technology, especially during this time when countries have imposed restrictions, lockdown restrictions, where you have to stay home. What are some of the opportunities right now and the innovation gap as well? Thank you so much for staying with us. I welcome Irene Muchuma, and later Family Matters. Do stay safe. I'm Purity Museo, and Byron Abuli has been our sign language interpreter this night.
July, one that is characterized with cold weather conditions, but then this is expected to change for a while just tomorrow. Good evening and a very warm welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. My name is Irene Mchoma Odim. The capital is experiencing light rains over a few places. The Lake Basin region and western parts of the country are currently experiencing showers accompanied by thunderstorms. This, as the rest of the country is experiencing scattered clouds, and that is how it will be for the rest of the night. In the capital, we will wake up to a cool and sunny Monday. Equally in Nyeri and Meru, there will be showers in Lamu and Mombasa. The northeastern parts of the country and southeastern lowlands will experience sunny conditions, but then for you over the Lake Basin region, and in particular Eldoret, Kisii, Kericho and Kakamega, there will be rains. The northwestern parts of the country will experience cold and cloudy weather conditions, as much as sunny conditions will prevail. In the afternoon, though, we are expecting some changes. We will see showers accompanied by thunderstorms coming in over the Lake Basin region and a few areas over the northwestern parts of the country. The northeastern, moving all the way to the coastal strip, and southeastern lowlands will experience sunny conditions. It will be sunny in the capital, apart from a few areas over high grounds in Meru and Nyeri, where we are expecting showers. The capital will experience maximum of 23 and lows of 13 degrees Celsius. For you in Kisumu, expect maximum of 27 degrees Celsius. That is your weather here in the home country. Time for us now to cross the borders and see how it will be in other parts of the world. Do have a good night and a lovely day ahead.
Effects of the pandemic has shocked the interconnected economy, that's global economy, and as scientists rush to develop a vaccine for this disease, countries have imposed lockdown restrictions. This means staying at home, avoiding social gatherings, and most people are now working from home. And Kenya is part of this. We have curfew, a dusk to dawn curfew, and other restrictions just to prevent and curb spread of the coronavirus. The country has never been faced with such a global plague, and therefore has never had an opportunity to use technology in response to such diseases. Therefore, we ask, how is technology helping in curbing or in the fight against the coronavirus? We speak with the ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs Cabinet Secretary Joe Musheru to just highlight some of the innovative ways there are, the opportunities, the solutions, and most importantly, the challenges that come with now the trend of using technology in most of the things that's happening. Let's now join him for that discussion in like 30 minutes time or so. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. It's a great honor to have you with us tonight.
Karibu sana Purity.
All right, thank you
Welcome
so much.
to Ministry of ICT.
Asante sana. So coronavirus, the new normal, you know, you have to stay at home, working from home. Tell us how it's affected you as a person, how a new normal looks like for you.
It's obviously a new thing completely, where you're seeing there's no international flights. Even going out of Nairobi is restricted. So for us, first in the ministry, many others are still working from home, so we've got different shifts. So really being in office and it's almost empty is an interesting and a new experience that we are having. At the same time, interacting with the rest of government, you know, with the CSs, we have cabinet meetings, we have other meetings with PSs, and many of these are now happening digitally. So we meet even with the counties using video conferencing equipment. It's been interesting. You know, people at their homes, do they have the right connectivity? Is it working? So you have people with equipment, others using their mobile phones. So it's been very interesting and a different way of working. People not sure about security, government. There's a lot of documents we tend to sign and give, even emails. Sometimes you print and give. But now with the technology and because of COVID, we are able to actually move things a lot faster. So I'm saying there's some efficiencies that we have seen. I think COVID has brought things that maybe will be here to stay across you know, the globe. So many of these things. So you don't have to travel. You don't have to, you know, take so much time and cost in doing some of these things. So we've learned those. But at the same time, it has the effect on the economy. So we have a lot of people who are now affected. Their livelihoods are affected. And so how we manage and work with all these people to ensure they are catered for and taken care of. Those are the changes. So we have new challenges that we're taking into account.
And I would also, as a member of the National Emergency Response Committee, really request your view on the response by the government. So far, it's the 4th month now since we reported the first case, and there has been a lot of pressure from Kenyans to reopen the hurting economy. What are the bare minimums?
So I would say, you know, the first thing is that this disease, no one knew anything about it. If you looked at what was happening in China, Italy, the US, you know, all these other places where they have infrastructure, they have all the facilities ready, it was worrying. Because then once the cases came here, we didn't know what to expect. So the president was quick to gazette the National Emergency Response Committee, chaired by the CS of Health, Mutahi Kagwe. And we embarked on ensuring that we provide the safety and the rules that are required. So stopping planes from countries where there was infections already reported, ensuring that everybody now, you know, follows the very clear protocols that the ministry gave, providing the information that people needed. So communication was happening throughout the country on all stations, ensuring that on a daily basis we're informing people on what is happening and where is happening, getting all the equipment, the protective gear that is required, all those things. A lot has happened, a lot has been done. I would say we are very fortunate because of devolution. We actually had already devolved the health facilities, and quite a few investments had already been made in many of the hospitals. That is being upgraded now, but we've been able to see that as government we've responded to the needs of the country. We've protected our people. We shut down the schools in time, so the spread was limited. We locked down, let's call it partial lockdown of some of the counties where we were seeing very high cases to limit. Even though some of the Kenyans were not following the rules, I think majority of Kenyans understood the crisis. And I believe as a country, we've actually done very well.
Yes.
The frontline workers were very and have continued to be very supportive, and this include the health workers, they include the police and security services who've been working on this. I mean, the contact tracing, you find a case, you need to go find all these people and bring them. There's been a lot of support from, I would say, everybody. The religious institutions agreeing, you know, not to hold these gatherings. Even the politicians, stopping all the political gatherings that were there. Those, I mean, right now, even in terms of funerals, you know, people are social distancing and you don't have the crowds that used to be there. I think as a country, we've done well. The government has done well in the way we've responded.
All right. And in the fight against coronavirus, there is the issue of avoiding social gatherings, of course, which is coming with its impact. People have to work from home. Others have lost their jobs, definitely. So let's talk about IT, how the country is using technology to respond to coronavirus. And we are talking about even responding to the patients themselves, the healthcare workers in the education sector. How is IT being used in the response right now?
So there are two things. Let's first look at the health side.
Yes, sure.
The health side posed some of our major risks, social gatherings and so on. So now, using video conferencing, we've actually been able to ensure that people can still meet, but they don't have to physically meet. There's social distancing on that. We've also seen the doctors being able to work with doctors across the world, whether it is Wuhan, whether it's South Africa. Using video conferencing, they've actually been able to talk, so that whatever people have learned, say in Italy or they've learned in Cambodia, our doctors are also getting the same learnings, and so that again, collaboration is happening. Contact tracing was one of our biggest challenges, and to be able to do that, we required to have use of technology, whether it is mobile phones. This is technology that we've had before that we can actually rely on, and that has helped us really in being able to get the people, bring them either to quarantine or to the health facilities where they are being treated. And so far, we have seen that these technologies have worked, at least on the health side. If we look at on the side of the economy, people have had challenges, for instance, with they've lost jobs, or you've got the old and vulnerable. We've had floods, we've had locusts, we've had many things happening. So the president launched, not now actually, some time back, the Inua Jamii program. This is where you provide cash transfers to the elderly and the people with disability. That has been expanded. More money has been given. I believe it's over 40 billion shillings that is going to that group of people. There is also the Kazi Mtaani. Now, all these are using mobile technology, mobile money, to be able to send money out so that people can be able to receive wherever they are. So you're not closing the local economy by taking food there. You're giving them money, and they're able to decide what is it that they want to be able to buy. 2 days ago, actually, there's a transfer for the Inua Jamii, and people across the country are very happy. And the same thing with Kazi Mtaani. This is the one of cleaning the drainage, the roads, ensuring that we have national hygiene. That also is going on well, and it is using the same technology we are talking about. So in a lot of ways, technology now is part of everyday life. It's part of what we are using, and really I thank the operators and others who reduced the cost of using this technology. So for mobile money, I think they reduced, there were no fees for, I think, up to 1,000 shillings. And so many people have significantly benefited from now the increased use of technology.
Yeah, and let's talk about the effectiveness of the technology, because there has been a lot of concerns, especially in the education sector, the online learning. Most learners, especially in rural areas, cannot access these online classes. Yeah, what's the effectiveness? How would you say, even before the effectiveness, let's talk about the trend, the uptake of technology by Kenyans. Are you seeing more Kenyans increasing demand for technology right now with the coronavirus, or how is the response? Are Kenyans still holding onto their traditional ways of operations?
No, I think technology is now at the heart of very many things. If we look at even the artists, the musicians, even the DJs, they've also gone online. They are being able to give their, I would say, entertainment or services to citizens using technology. We are happy with the Kekobo. This is the copyright board, Kenya Copyright Board. We're able to set up a system where now people can receive their money directly. So again, using technology, if you perform in an event, you can actually be paid. And if media and others use your music, or they use your entertainment, you will actually be paid through these systems. So we've actually seen an increase, a significant increase. Yes, there are many schools in the private sector and some even government that have devices and have used those for their online learning. But you'll find in the past, when we were setting up, for instance, the digital services, we were doing this in classrooms, we were doing this in schools. unfortunately, our children now are at home. So it's important that then the families, the kids have devices, and the budget is a significant budget to ensure that everybody has a device. So we've been looking at what are the options. How can we use the existing 1 million devices that we had already given to the schools to be able to maybe give only to the candidates so that they can use. But you see, during this time also, you can't just go straight to exams. You also have to learn. And so there's a lot of work that is going on in ensuring that we have the devices as well as connectivity. The president announced and signed off for us to have the balloons from Google, their company called Loon. Those have actually have come. Not all of them are here. They're still arriving. We expect once we have about 35 of them, then the whole country will be covered. At least they'll have 4G coverage. So there are things that we're trying to work on, but it's a very big task, especially now with the reduced budgets because of the slowdown of the economy because of COVID-19. Then you don't have as much money. The money is going into protecting health, is going into giving people the cash transfers that they can use, and so on, not just into education. So we're still working, and hopefully we'll have a solution soon.
Right. And on the embracing of technology in the country, there has been a lot of, let's say, misconceptions about this new technology, Google loans. Maybe you can make clarification, because the last time you said we are yet to implement this as a country, but you are assuring Kenyans of its safety. There are so many concerns that it's connected, the interconnection of this internet with the viruses that we are experiencing globally.
So that's a 5G conversation that people have been having.
Yes.
So first of all, the spectrum that is used, the radio waves that are used by these technologies exist. They are natural. It's not that this thing is creating something new. And Loon and all these other 4G and all these other services we've had already exist, and people have had them. And they are not the ones that caused COVID-19, according to some people who are trying to peddle that. They are not the cause. The balloons are the same as a base station, which you normally see, you know, the towers out in the street. So instead of having it out in the street, you have it up about 62 kilometers up in the air, and it services a lot more people. But you're using your same phone, your same technology. It is safe. People are not. People are using it. If I look at the statistics coming from the Communications Authority, we've seen significant growth in the usage of these services. So I think Kenyans are safe in using the communications technology, and they should be safe that even 5G, which we don't have yet, is not a problem, even globally.
All right. On the challenges, you've mentioned that you're going to work and ensure that every person access technology, but there has been concerns, especially on the privacy, security, and now the increase of social ills. People are saying that young people accessing this technology, they are watching a lot of things and being attributed to even teenage pregnancies. The reports have been going around an increase of these social ills, drug use. Maybe let's address some of these challenges and how technology can be used efficiently during this time.
So the first thing I'll say is that as government, ours is to create an environment that is enabling, that works, and also protects citizens. So we have the access to information law already in place. We have the computer misuse and cybercrime law in place. We have the data protection law also in place. So we've put most of the policies and the regulations that are required in place. I'm hoping in the next week or so we should actually have a new data commissioner. This will be the first one in our history, someone that is going to be now taking care of all our privacy and all our information. The laws are very clear and very strict. So anybody that is caught either with espionage or hacking or even fake news and so on, the laws are very, very clear. And the judiciary is working with us to ensure that we protect Kenyans. The second thing is we also have a responsibility to continue to educate our citizens, parents, on how they use the technology. So I instructed last week the Communications Authority to work with all the internet service providers to ensure that they're providing to all their customers, especially parents, the methods that they can use to be able to restrict some of this adult content that the children are sometimes being exposed to restrict harmful information that is being peddled, whether it's on crimes or things that are not conducive, for our young people. So the Communications Authority is in the process of finalizing some of those regulations that we're going to actually put in place in conjunction with the operators and the parents, the users, so as we make sure we are providing a very safe environment. I'm happy to know that there are companies that have already begun innovating in this space. They have created servers where you can go and you subscribe to a specific service, and even if you allow your children to now use that Wi-Fi service or that link, you know that the content that is provided is clean. It is not just open. So if you don't know how to clean and to secure the device, you give them a connection now to this service where it is being done. So there is innovations that are coming in, but I agree it is a concern that we are working hard to ensure we fix. And this includes people who are trying to use social engineering to take money from people. People are being conned all the time. All those things we're working towards ensuring we eradicate.
Yeah, and there's also the issue of, let's address the issue of unemployment, especially among young people. Probably how many right now have been rendered jobless, and the opportunities now, the technological opportunities there are right now, so young people can tap into.
It's a really big concern for the president and for the whole government that there are people who are being made redundant in this process, and it's not just young people. It's all through, but it affects the young people even more, because again, especially those who have young families, they're just starting. It's quite tough, and this is why the Kazi Mtaani program has been brought. It started with about 26,000 people. Now it's being moved to about 200,000. At the same time, for us, we've been working with different partners to now get our youth to online and digital jobs. Again, those trainings are ongoing. We are seeing a lot of uptake. We have trainers now from across the country, training people in, I think it's almost 20 different areas that people can specialize in, whether it is transcription, whether it's virtual assistance. And all this training means once you get your connectivity, you have a device, then you can be able to subscribe to work overseas. And we're seeing, again, quite a few people are already working. And lastly, let me say we've been working also very well with the judiciary. And with the judiciary, we're in the process of now launching a transcription service, where in all the different courtrooms that have been digitized, the proceedings that are going on are recorded, and then we have our young people transcribing those proceedings and then giving them back to the judges and magistrates, so that then we're not only making the court process more efficient and fast, but we're also creating work. So all these are different areas that we're working on, and we'll continue to look at ways of being able to enhance. We have worked with Media Council to ensure that we're giving even the media. I think we've supported now about 134 media houses. We've supported about 300 journalists, and we're giving them between, I think it's 5 to 25,000. This is for the journalists. Media houses are getting from 200 to 2 million. So all these different groups. And so far, I think we've distributed about 124 million. And, we continue to look at ways of just being able to support everybody.
All right. And finally, I would ask about the innovation challenge. We've seen countries like China, Italy using drones and also robots, especially to take care of the patients of COVID-19, just to minimize the interaction and further infections for people who are not infected. So what's the innovation challenge? We also saw our students at KU, trying to invent some ventilators, because some of these things being used in curbing the spread of coronavirus are being imported and not really locally available. So the challenge, what is your challenge to innovators and scientists out there?
So we have, we had a hackathon at Konza, and this was open to everybody, and we had about 250 innovators who actually came into that hackathon, and now we have about 15 companies that were selected in the different categories that we are supporting. We're providing both money, but also the training, all the support that they need to be able to get their innovations up and running. At the same time, I gazetted a COVID-19 advisory committee, which is chaired by the Communications Authority. And so far they've received over 400 different innovations. And in fact, I have some that I was looking at which they were sharing. And you know, from the health side, there's one they are calling it the pill shop, and what they're doing is that this is an innovation that is supporting in terms of providing if you want appointments, if you want to talk, because right now you don't necessarily want to just go to the hospital. You want to let people know if you're sick. So they're providing a platform that allows remote consultation. We have My Health Africa, who have provided a telemedicine platform for COVID-19. Then there is AFIA record, and these ones are using artificial intelligence and data, and they're trying to support. If you have an underlying condition, you go there, you get all the information that you need to be able to ensure that you know, you take care, you take all the precautions that are required. We have another one, Zalisha digital farming platform. This one not only helps you in the farming process, what are the inputs, how much fertilizer have you put, but also even the market opportunities that are there. There's an Acre Africa, which is a digital wallet that has been set up. You put your savings there, and you can use that as your transaction history. You can borrow, you can use that to buy some of the inputs. And then there's others. I mean, there's a community platform that has been created in Bungoma. So they're calling themselves Voices of Bungoma. So they're allowing anybody who has any content, whether it is video, whether it is poems, whatever it is, just to do with the COVID-19, come and put that, and then it's available to the community. They can be able to share. We have a very, very innovative society.
All right.
Our youth and our people are very innovative. So,
but still
so far, so
welcoming
good.
more innovations.
Yes, yes.
All right.
We are.
That's the time we had for our show, but I'll welcome your parting shots as we wind up.
I mean, mine is to tell Kenyans, you know, we are open to supporting the innovations that are going there. But right now, our biggest problem is still the coronavirus risk. And really, we must take care. We must take care not only of ourselves, but of our brothers, our sisters, our parents, just to ensure that we go through this process safe, we come out stronger, we come out better, and really let us support one another. Let us take care of our neighbor, because no one else will. And, you know, we are one community, and this is the time for us to do that. So. Thank you very much, at least, for giving me the opportunity to share these views.
Thank you so much for your time. We highly appreciate. And that's all the time we had for this conversation with ICT Innovation and Youth Affairs Cabinet Secretary, just talking about technology and COVID-19. A lot is being done, but there are opportunities to tap in right there. The issue of privacy, the ministry just assuring Kenyans that they are working into ensuring that every person, especially on the young people, as they access this internet, especially on the internet and technology use, then their privacy is secured, and also it's also safe for children to use. Thank you once again for your time. I'm Purity Museo. Do enjoy the rest of our viewing. Bye-bye.
I welcome you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. My name is Reverend Muinamia from the War Restoration Center, Roimen, in Gong. Trust in the Lord. Proverbs 3:5 tells us we should trust in the Lord with all of our hearts, and we should not lean on our own understanding. The Bible also continues to say, in all our ways, we need to submit to Him, and He'll make our paths straight. Why should we trust in this God? We should trust in this God because throughout time, it has proved and has shown that God is a very faithful God. And what He says in His word has surely come to pass. And therefore we can be able to say with all the authority that these attributes of God are surely there, and you can trust Him. That this God is all powerful, and therefore He can